Hello, hello, my friend.
Hi, how are you?
Better, better now that I'm talking to you. Oh my God.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You are one of the most inspiring and creative people that I know. And that is not, I'm not like trying to make you feel good or anything like that. That is just plain truth.
I appreciate it.
I don't know how it is that you are my neighbor. Like you happen to be my neighbor.
Yes, I am.
Listen, that's Montclair for you, right? That is Montclair. We are
Yeah.
surrounded by the most amazing people.
Yes.
We are
In
so
our neighborhood.
in our neighborhood.
Mhm.
So, my dear, thank you for being on Loving on Local. And, you know, this is where I talk to people who inspire me, local business owners, local entrepreneurs, um, who make an impact in the community. And I'm just thrilled to talk to you today.
Well, thank you so much.
So I want to start with the source of your inspiration. I'd love to hear more about what inspires you to do all of the amazing things you do. In particular, you have started two businesses that are incredibly successful. You are I think you're like the first Black woman to own a national franchise, correct?
Or to be the franchisor, the person who owns the brand. Yes. Yes.
What inspires you?
Yeah, and so what inspires me, what has always inspired me was my son. And now he uses this as he's like, well, you started everything because of me. Now he's old and he can talk. He's about to be 16. But I wanted to create a life that would allow me to be available to show up for him. And so I started my first business just to have a source of income and to create a flexible schedule so I could like take care of him and not need, to put him in school all day and never see him. From an early age, I knew that I wanted to, if I was going to have children, I knew the importance of being there as they grew and seeing that and witnessing that, and that I know that's a blessing, and so that was my biggest source. And now at this later age in life, my inspiration is to just, I had to go through so much. I learned so much and it was very hard for me. So now I want to set him up with the knowledge, the resources, so that when he's about to start his journey as an adult, it's not as hard for him.
That is such a common thread, I think, in among the women business owners that I've talked to, right? Like like for example, in my situation, I took a leap of faith plunge into real estate from public health, and the largest inspiration was my daughter. I wanted to be more available to her. I was tired of traveling and not being available, missing all the photo days, missing everything, and found real estate and jumped right into it. And I've heard that story from so many other, businesswomen that I've interviewed with. And so there's something there. There's something there about what inspires us as women. So thank you for sharing that. Tell us a little bit about the businesses that you have created.
Yes. So I've created Kika Stretch Studios. I created that when I was 25. So I spent most of my 20s just learning about business and learning as much as I could. And again, it was never to scale, it was just to create a living. And then it started to scale, it became a business. And so I learned what that meant. And so after being one of the first Black females to franchise in the whole country and just developing a wealth of knowledge, I kind of started to shift from just, I was happy being a local owner, but then my interest started to shift nationally. Like, okay, let me open up nationally. So I did that. But then my interest started to shift more like, all right, I want to be more than just a franchisor. So now that has led me to my latest business, Black Box Franchising, where we actually help develop small businesses and turn them into national franchise brands.
So Kika Stretch was the inspiration for developing your next business. You sort of like leapt from that to this new entity. And tell us what Kika Stretch is.
So Kika Stretch, it sounds funny because it became a whole thing, but Kika Stretch was the playground for me to learn about business. And so you lie on a mat and a coach stretches out your entire body for you. So we help release all of the tension that's been trapped inside of your body for years. And so I started that because my training was in dance. I was a professional dancer for years, and I used my skill set to start that business. And so that was my first business ever in life, and I was doing that for a very long time before I even added another business. And so now the black box business is really my calling. I know a lot of people know me from Kika. People love Kika, the method, the stretch. But black box really serves like everyone, no matter if you like to stretch, if you don't like to stretch, it's helping save small business. And so for me, it is a very powerful, anointed calling that I've answered because I did have to make the shift to focus not just on my brand, but to help people with their brand as well, which most people don't do. They just stay within their brand. So it's a big calling, and I'm just glad I answered it.
It is a calling. It is something that you use to serve others. You use the word anointed for this. I believe that you are highly anointed in so many ways. You have been given so many amazing gifts and talents. And, the first being creativity. You create such powerful and such needed businesses. Tell us a little bit about Black Box and the need that it has been created to fill.
Yes, so black box franchising, and actually, I was driving. You mentioned anointed. God has helped me on every path I've ever been on. Thank the Lord. Without him, I don't know where I would have been, honestly. But I was driving one day and I was like, what should I name this business? And the name popped in my head, right? And so, black box. I'm like, what does black box mean? So, when I pulled over, I actually researched black box. What is the meaning? And it means that the input is seen, the output is seen, but the inner workings are unknown. And I was like, that's how you know it's God because there's no way. And so for me, I was like, this is the perfect name because for so many small businesses, they're making money, they're marketing, people know about them, but the inner workings of their business are unknown. And so what Black Box does is, yes, we help turn your business into a national brand, but we help you understand the inner workings of your business. We help you measure them and strategically grow instead of just growing and you don't know how you got there. So the purpose of Black Box is educating the small business owners on how what's happening in their business and so that they can grow it.
We could go so deep on that.
I
Like,
know. I know.
we could go so deep on the inner workings and how that all works both, in the natural and in the spiritual realm, but we don't have enough time for that. So we'll just keep going.
Okay. Okay.
So Kika Stretch is intended to help individuals relax and stretch out their bodies in ways that they never knew they could. And what is interesting is that it occurs to me that black box franchising, black box is intended to help business owners stretch themselves in ways that they never even imagined that they could. Did you realize that?
I thought about it once and I totally forgot about that thought until you brought it up again. I can't get away from this stretching thing.
Stretching thing. You help people stretch. You have helped me as your neighbor and friend stretch in ways that I could not even imagine. And we'll talk about that in the future episode of this. And yeah, you are definitely where you should be, doing what you should be doing, and definitely working in your strengths. And so we appreciate that. You're a gift to the community. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for you. You know, a guy named Gary Keller, who started Keller Williams, once said that, you can be anywhere in 5 years. If you would look back, if you look back at where you were when you started Kika Stretch, could you even at that time have envisioned where you would be today with Black Box?
You know, it's funny because not with Black Box, but as far as growth and wanting more, I always have. I remember when I first moved to Upper Montclair, I told someone, oh, no, someone asked me, why is it called Kika Stretch Studios with an S? And I was like, because there'll be more. And she started laughing. And I was like, what's funny? So there's something to be said about knowing your purpose and seeing your own vision because it's people will oftentimes people can never see what you see. And so now I look back and I'm like, I wish number one, I remembered who that was so I can find them and show them a map of all the places we opened. Like now you see why there was an S at the end. But I just always I always wanted I never wanted to limit myself. It's a gift and a curse, right? I never wanted to limit what I could do. And so that's why I've always had visions of more and I've never stopped doing that.
If you can see it, you will achieve it. And you did for both businesses, and you're doing that for so many other small business owners where they may lack vision. You help bring that vision to them, right? What a powerful gift. So you mentioned Upper Montclair. Why Montclair?
So I didn't know much about business when I started, but one thing I knew is that I had to open in a city where people appreciated health, where so they would be more open to trying this new concept. So Montclair was I lived in Belleville, and so Montclair was next door, and I'm like, oh, Montclair would be perfect without even knowing uh much about business. I knew that Montclair might be a good place to start. So that's why I started in Montclair.
And how has the community here responded to what you have brought?
Yeah, so in the beginning, people were thought I was crazy, like, oh, what are you stretching? Now it's a thing. But I'm so thankful because to this day, I still have some of the same clients that we've had when I first started. So they've seen me grow, they've seen, the struggle, the pain points. It's almost like family members because they see the success, but they've seen everything. So I'm so thankful for those who have stuck around, and it's not easy for small business owners. And it's not easy at all. And a lot of the times customers don't understand what you go through as a business owner. COVID,
Hmm.
recessions, and inflation, and all these things. So I'm so thankful for the clients who stuck through it all because it's not easy, and I appreciate all of their support.
Well, I'm sure they didn't just stick through it just because they stuck through it because they see value in it, right?
And
They
that's,
derive
yeah, so
benefit from it.
yeah, yes, yes.
What would you say is the thing that makes Kika Stretch and Black Box unique?
Yes. So Kika Stretch, we have a measuring system that is only offered in our studios called the Kika Stretch Age. And our method of stretching is consistent no matter where you go, what studios we have that you go to. So, and sometimes you'll go into a stretch place and they'll just do whatever. The practitioner will just, stretch you however they want, but we have an actual system that we follow that has helped prevent injury like our entire career because it's applicable to all bodies. And so what I like to do with my businesses is find things that are not offered that can help people and use that as a main point. So for Black Box, there are franchise development companies. I was developed as a franchise, but what was missing was the education. They didn't explain or educate me as to what that meant, what my new job as a franchisor would be. And so that was a big missing link and still is in the industry. So Black Box starts with the foundation of education, and we educate our entrepreneurs so that they understand, and then we develop them versus just developing someone who doesn't know what's going on. And so finding things that are missing and having that as the key factor is usually what I do.
That's a really powerful tip and a pro tip, I should say. Finding a need, an unmet need, and finding a way to meet it is definitely one of the ways to succeed, I think, in every aspect of our lives. And, along those lines, I'm wondering for young budding people that have dreams and goals and aspirations to create their own businesses and thrive like you are, what other advice would you give them in addition to finding an unmet need and meeting it?
Yes. So the biggest piece of advice I would give is to keep your overhead low. You
Oh,
know, when you start a business, everybody, as you know, everybody has an idea, everybody has an input. You should do this, you should do that. And you might get caught up in all of that. You start adding it on, and then you're drowning. So, especially in this economy that we're in, find ways to keep your overhead as low as possible while delivering an amazing service or product.
keep your overhead low without compromising the quality of the product and the service that you're providing. And so, can you share with us some examples of how people can go about keeping their overhead low? Because I am all ears, girl.
Yes, and shout out to Keith of KB Electric. He was my first client ever in life at Kika. And that was one of the pieces of advice he gave me, and it stuck with me. And his story is amazing too. So I would say finding a realtor like yourself who will find the appropriate space for your need.
Mm.
Uh, I want to give you your flowers because what you have done in the community, the whole city of Montclair is just amazing. And you're so personable, you're so likable, and it's just a pleasure to be around you. But I would say working with a realtor like yourself is different than just working with any realtor because usually realtors are just like, buy this, buy that, buy that. But I feel like you strategically match what the person should buy based on their need. So if you're a business owner looking for a space, then work with someone who understands your need so that they don't, sell you something that will not benefit and you'll wind up drowning in the end.
So that's the first thing is just finding a space that matches your need, no more than you need, um, that keeps your business sustainable. So is that the major thing associated with overhead is your
Look,
rental cost? Yeah?
in business and small business, rental cost and labor cost. Those are the two that's it. That's it. Yeah.
I'm learning so much from just talking to you here, 'cause this is not something
Yes.
I think about in, well, it's a different area of real estate, but wow. Okay. I'm taking that nugget and I'm putting it in my pocket for future initiatives um,
Yes.
that we may have coming up. So that is
Yes.
a terrific tip. Thank you so much. Yep, yep,
You're
yep.
welcome.
Um, so why should people in our community, outside of our community, choose to work with either Kika Stretch or with Black Box Franchising?
Yes. So in our community, small business in every community, it's very important. And there is a difference between mega corporation and small business, right?
Mhm.
So every time you spend dollars at a small business, you're helping a family, literally a local family live. You're helping fund essentially a place in the environment for people to get good products, good services. So even beyond just my business, it's I've been where I've been in Montclair for over 10 years, and so I've seen like all the shifts. So it's so important to just support locally. Just get it local, it's easier. And then, for Black Box, it's crazy because Kika and Blockbox, we offer things to people, but when they purchase those things, it helps them become a better person. So for stretching, obviously you're going to feel a lot better, feel younger. It's going to help you. And then Blackbox, small business owners, we help teach them how to make their business last for generations to come versus just it dying off when they do. And then on the other side of that, we also help the franchisors sell their business to other people. And so now in today's economy, we have amazing brands that people can really win off of.
Hmm.
So instead of starting a business from scratch, like I did, you can go to Black Box and actually purchase something that already exists and is thriving and learn how to operate it. So either business, you're going to win in the end.
Ah, so I see immediately one of the values of black box, especially when it comes to um, like keeping your costs low, because time is money, right? So if you
Yes.
are spending all this money up front, developing something that's not proven, that doesn't have a systems and protocols behind it, that could be costly. You could be learning very costly lessons.
Yes. And when I first started, there was a big grace period of making mistakes and, you know, learning trial and error. But in business nowadays, their grace period is like 1 month, okay? Like 1 month of bad decision making can take you out. So it's so important to just be set up to win from the beginning from someone else who has gone through it so that your chances of success are far greater. I know a family that the father started it, all his sons are in it. They own 120 franchise locations of all different brands, all different laundromat, food, because it's all about systems and processes, like you said. And once you have the roadmap, you can just run with it. So in today's economy, you have to learn fast or
Learn
smart.
fast, learn smart, be set up to win, put systems and protocols in place, or take model programs, take model systems and protocols and replicate those to the
Yes,
best of your ability. I love that. I love that.
yes.
What do you love the most about doing what you do? All of what you do, because you do a whole heck of a lot. I haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg with the questions.
What do I love most?
Yes, what do you love about what you do?
The ability to determine my own future.
Mm,
Yes,
the
that's what it would be.
ability to self-determine,
To create my own story instead of living a story that someone else has given me.
writing your own story, writing your own narrative. Wow, wow. And then leaving a
And
legacy
leaving a legacy and
that
just
you're proud of, that you're proud of. That's not a legacy that hasn't been written by anyone else but you and God.
being a vehicle for his glory. Just really being a vessel. And from the beginning, that this is a whole nother episode. It's like before Kika, what happened? That's a whole nother thing. Before Kika stretch.
Yeah, yeah.
But I remember there was a time where I was crying in the mirror and I was like, if you get me out of this situation, I'll have faith in you forever. And
Mm,
then I started to notice that things were shifting and I was like, wow, this is real. This whole faith thing is real. So that's why now, whenever I get a chance, I reflect back on that. You know, because I would be nothing without having the type of faith that I've had my entire journey.
I gotta tell you, man, find something to have faith in. Better have faith in God if you can, but if you can't, find something to leaps of faith. Leaps of faith. have
Yeah.
gotten me where I am. And it sounds like leaps of faith have gotten you to where you are as well.
Huge leaps, like jumping off
Huge
the
leap.
cliff leaps.
Woo! There's something called a penguin principle. Talk about it next time. It's when a bundle of penguin, baby penguins line up at in the Arctic at the top of the cliff. They've
Yeah,
journeyed from their nests. They've never taken this journey before. And they all, saunter to the end of the cliff. And they're all just,
yes,
they get there and they're like, what? Like,
yes,
why are we here? We supposed to jump in that?
yes,
And then one brave penguin or one faithed penguin or one penguin that hears a word decides to be the first to take that leap. And you see
yep,
him in there and he's just like having a great time. And then slowly but surely, the early adopters follow him. And then the
yes,
early majority follow them.
yes,
And then the late majority follow, and the laggards follow, and soon enough, everybody's in. I feel like that's what happened with Kika Stretch because everywhere I look now, there's stretch studios, and I never have seen anything
yes,
about a stretch studio anywhere
yes,
except for your stretch studio.
yes.
And now there's stretch studios everywhere.
Yeah. No, there's something to be because when people would once they started popping up, people would be like, "Oh, there's a stretch studio, there's a stretch studio." And I was presented with an opportunity to just be that person and have 500 locations, but my why didn't match that journey. And
Oh,
so I was comfortable with just helping because it's all about helping, like, and competition is good. Like, it helps more people. So it's funny because even now people are like, there's a stretch studio. I'm like, I know, but my goal was to never to just I didn't want that type of life.
that's it. That's
So
it. That's it. And we could talk for
yeah,
hours about, what principles guide your decision making. Like if you don't have principles that guide your business decision making, you are bound to make major business mistakes. So I love that you are doing businesses that are consistent with your why, that are consistent with your values, that are principled and guided. So I love that. Anything else that I should be asking you that I have not asked you right now? What?
no, I thank you. Uh, and thank you, Deborah, seriously, because the way you run your business is I've heard you say this, it's about community and just you taking the time to speak to me, having me on here. Most people don't go those extra steps, but I see you go these extra steps with everything that you do, like extra things that you don't have to do, but you still do it. And so, honestly, even being your neighbor and just having you in the neighborhood is so good because without you, I don't think we would all connect the way that we do now. And that's so powerful. So I just thank you for being my neighbor.
I thank
Everyone,
you.
go to her for all your real estate needs. She's the one. She is the one.
I thank you. I thank you for your presence. I thank you for who you are. I thank you for who you are in my life and for everything that you do for our community and what we're doing for the small businesses in our community and all the businesses. Because when we do what we do because it's purpose driven. And, when we win, we want our community to win when we
Yes.
win, right? So, yeah. Yeah, that's it. How can people find you? What's all your various handles and all
Yes.
that
Yes. So
stuff?
yeah, I am an Instagram girl. So you you have to catch me on the gram if you really want to stay up to date with what I have going on. But it's Kika, Kika, and then Kika, I am. If you would like to stretch at Kika, it's kikastretchstudios.com. If you would like to turn your business into a franchise or purchase a business that's already a franchise, go to blackboxfranchising.com and it's Black Box Franchising on all social media platforms.
And there you go. That's it. And And stay tuned because there is so much more to come.
There's a part two.
There's a part two. And go follow her, y'all. Go follow her. All right. Mad love. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day. Talk with you
Thank
soon, my friend.